All right, we're going to go ahead and solve a couple equations by completing the square. So let's go ahead and look at this first one, 3x squared plus 18x minus 8 equals 22. All right, the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to set the equation equal to 0. And in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and move that 22 over as a negative 22. And then we're going to go ahead and rewrite the equation. So we have 3x squared plus 18x minus 30 equals to 0. Now, remember in class when we learned how to complete the square and change it over to vertex form, we start by looking at this piece right here, and we're going to take that a value and we're going to divide it out. So when we divide by 3, we're just going to write 3 parentheses, then 3 divided by 3 is 1, x squared, 18 divided by 3 is 6 with an x, and then minus 30 equals to 0. All right, so we went ahead and did that. And I'm going to go and use that geometric model that we've been doing in class. And just remember, as we do that, this 3 is going to follow down. This minus 30 is going to follow down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square, turn this x squared plus 6x into a square right here. Now remember, when we make this into a square, that means that the sides are in fact the same. So I'm going to take that x squared here. And in order to make the sides the same, I'm going to have to work at this diagonal. I'm going to have to take that 6x right there. And I'm going to have to take that 6x and divide it into two pieces that are exactly the same. So I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and write the rest. So I know x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And x times 3 is 3x. Now, if you look, that you'll notice that there is a box that is empty right there. Okay. That box that is empty is going to be what was not originally there, or what we would call our new extra value. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 3 and the 3 to get 9. Okay. So now let's go ahead and continue based on what we've done so far. I'm going to bring that 3 down, and then I'm going to write exactly what my factors are, x plus 3 and x plus 3. Which is right here, x plus 3 and x plus 3, which is x plus 3 squared. I'm going to go ahead and bring down that value of minus 30 again. Okay. I haven't worked with all this yet, minus 30. And then what I got to do is I've got to account for the fact that we have this new or extra piece in here that wasn't there to begin with. And that's why I circled in red. It wasn't there to start with. Okay. So that newer extra piece, there are 9, but it's not exactly 9 because we're multiplying by this value of 3. So the newer extra piece is actually 3 values of 9, or 3 times 9, which is 27. Well, if it's new to the problem, we've got to get rid of it. So I'm going to subtract that 27 from it, okay? And then I'm going to rewrite the equation. So we have 3 parentheses x plus 3 squared, and then minus 30 minus 27 is minus 57 equals to 0. Okay, there's that 0 all the way down there. I just brought that down. All right, now we've just completed the square. We've turned it into vertex form. We need to go ahead and solve this piece. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I'm going to come right up here. And I'm going to say, okay, let's solve 3 parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 57 equals to 0. And if you remember, solving vertex form is easy. That's why we complete the squares, to make life as easy as possible for us. And I'm going to go ahead and start solving away. I'm going to add that 57 over. Okay, I'm going to add that 57 over. That's going to bring me to 3x plus 3 squared equals to 57. I'm going to divide by 3 now. 3 is attached by multiplication, so we're going to divide by 3. Okay, and when we do that, we're going to get x plus 3 squared equals to 57 divided by 3. If you're using Desmos, that's cool. It is 19. And then we are going to get rid of that square. And remember, if we get rid of that square, we're going to get rid of that square by taking the square root of both sides. So the square and the square root. We could also use 1/2 power, just as a reminder. Okay, and we can go ahead and put x plus 3 equals to the square root of 19 plus or minus the square root of 19. And 19 is not going to break down. It's a prime number. So I'm going to leave it as the square root of 19. We can also change it to a decimal later on if we want to and add it together. And we're going to get rid of that positive 3. And we're going to subtract 3. Okay. And then we're going to get x equals to -3 plus or minus the square root of 19. And please remember that there are two answers when we write that because we have two values. We have a positive square root of 19 and a negative square root of 19. So I'm going to go ahead and show that. We have -3 plus the square root of 19. And then we also have -3 minus the square root of 19. And those would be your two values of x. Okay. And those would be your two values of x when the equation is set equal to 22. So there's your process. You got to complete the square and turn it over to vertex form. And then after you turn it to vertex form, you need to go ahead and then solve that vertex form. Alrighty, y'all. Hope that helps, especially with your homework today.